Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're diving into the latest buzz around what Apple might be cooking up next. The iPhone 17 series.
Right. Lots of speculation flying around already.
Totally. We've been looking at some reports, particularly one from the Times Bull. Seems pretty detailed. And our mission today is pretty simple. Pull out the most interesting bits. We're talking design, specs, maybe price, and when we might actually see these things.
Yeah, trying to piece together the puzzle from these early leaks.
Exactly. So if you're curious about what's next for iPhones, stick around. Okay, let's get into it.
What's kind of jumping out immediately from this report is, well, it looks like Apple might be shaking things up more than usual this time, not just the typical incremental stuff.
Absolutely. And the big headline seems to be this rumored new model, the iPhone 17 Air.
The Air name is back for iPhone. Interesting.
And the rumor isn't just a name change. They're saying it could be the thinnest iPhone ever made. Seriously, imagine that.
Wow. Okay, so super thin. That's always a design goal, isn't it? But how do they pull that off? Are we talking new materials, maybe? Something lighter than aluminum, but still strong?
That's a good question. The report does mention a 6.6-inch screen for this Air.
Okay, so a decent size.
Yeah, well, possibly stepping in to replace the Plus model, So you still get a big screen, but maybe in a much slimmer device.
Makes sense. Keep the large screen option, but give it a new angle.
And there's also talk about the front camera. An upgrade there, housed in maybe a smaller pill-shaped notch. Sounds like a definite plus for, well, selfies and FaceTime.
A smaller notch is always welcome. And an improved front camera makes sense.
One weird thing, though, the report hints the Air might have limited availability at first, maybe only certain read-ins.
That is interesting. Why do that? Maybe testing the waters with the thin design? Or maybe, like, supply chain constraints for whatever makes it so thin?
Could be. Adds a bit of mystery, doesn't it? So, okay, that's the Air. What about the standard iPhone 17?
Seems like that one might be more familiar territory. The report suggests a 6.1-inch screen sticking with the aluminum body. Kind of the reliable default option.
Right. Keeps things consistent. Aluminum is tried and tested. Helps keep the price maybe a bit more grounded compared to the Pro models.
Exactly. It defines that tier, clearly.
Speaking of Pro, the iPhone 17 Pro looks like it'll follow the 15 Pro's lead. We're talking a 6.3-inch screen and that titanium body.
Yeah, titanium. It just feels different, doesn't it? Lighter than steel, but strong. Premium. Adds to the Pro differentiation.
Definitely. But here's something potentially huge. And apparently, for all the models, 17 Air, 17 Pro, a jump to a 24-megapixel front camera.
Whoa, okay. From 12 MP to 24 MP, that's double.
Right. That's a massive leap for the front camera.
That really signals a focus on, video calls, social media, selfies. A 24 MP sensor could mean way more detail, maybe better low-light performance too, potentially allowing for more advanced computational stuff on the front camera. That's actually quite a big deal.
It really is.
Yeah.
Imagine the difference in quality. Okay, so let's move up to the top dog, the iPhone 17 Pro Max.
The flagship.
Expected to stay as the premium choice, maybe even getting slightly bigger. A 6.9-inch display is rumored.
Getting pretty large, tablet territory almost.
But the really intriguing bit is the talk of incredibly thin bezels, like almost non-existent borders around the screen.
The quest for the all-screen phone continues. Minimizing those bezels makes the screen feel way more immersive without making the phone itself much bigger. If they can pull off incredibly thin, that would look stunning.
Totally. The report also mentions it keeping the titanium back, like the Pro and the triple camera system on the rear. Standard stuff there, maybe.
Seems likely for the Pro Max.
But there is a little hint that the way the cameras are arranged on the back might change. Maybe a slight redesign of the camera bump.
Yeah, even small tweaks to the camera module can make the phone look quite different. Keeps it feeling fresh year over year, right? A visual update.
Good point. Okay, the big question, money. How much are these things going to cost? No official word, obviously, but the Times Bill article had some guesses.
Always the $1 million, or rather $1,000 question.
Yeah. They're suggesting the base iPhone 17 might start around $799. Feels kind of familiar, right?
Yeah, that tracks with recent base model pricing. Seems plausible.
Then the iPhone 17 Air, being new, is expected to slot in somewhere between the base and the Pro, a mid-tier price point.
Makes sense. Filling that gap, give people an option focused on design, maybe?
And the iPhone 17 Pro, potentially looking at a $999 starting price. Again, feels pretty standard for the Pro line.
Consistent with the current structure.
But the Pro Max, the big one, with the potentially huge screen and tiny bezels, that could easily go over $1,200, maybe more, depending on storage.
Yeah, not surprising for the top-tier model, especially if it packs in all those rumored upgrades like the bezels and maybe camera tweaks.
Yeah.
That premium experience costs.
It certainly does. So, last piece. When can we actually expect them?
The timeline.
The report seems pretty confident about September 2025. And apparently for all 4 models, the 17, 17 Air, 17 Pro, and 17 Pro Max, a simultaneous launch.
Okay, launching them all together is good. No staggered release. Everyone gets their choice from day one, more or less.
Seems that way. And availability in places like India and other big international markets should follow pretty soon after the main global launch.
Standard Apple rollout procedure, then.
Yeah, but we do need to remember that little asterisk about the Air potentially having those initial regional limits we talked about.
Right, that's still a bit of a question mark. Need to see how that plays out, assuming the model even exists, of course.
Exactly. So let's kind of wrap this up. The iPhone 17 series. It's looking potentially quite interesting. We've got the possibility of this super thin air model, maybe a big upgrade for front cameras across the board.
That 24MP front camera is a standout rumor.
Definitely. And those potentially super slim bezels on the Pro Max. Plus the usual tiered pricing we sort of expect.
A mix of familiar strategy and some potentially significant new features.
But, and this is the big but, we have to remember this is all based on leaks and rumors right now. It's early days.
Absolutely crucial point. Nothing is official until Apple gets on stage. These things can change, or reports can just be plain wrong sometimes. Healthy skepticism is key.
For sure. Always good to keep that in mind. So, as we finish up, here's something to think about. Out of all these rumors, the thin air, the better selfies, the edge-to-edge Pro Max screen, what grabs your attention the most?
Yeah, what's the feature that makes you go, interesting?
And maybe think about how these kinds of potential changes might affect, what phone you buy next, or just how you see phones evolving in general. Something to chew on.
Definitely worth considering.
Okay, that's it for this deep dive. Thanks for tuning in.